Okay, guys, if you stuck around for the challenge problem here, let's get started. So kudos to you for wanting to get this done and over with. One thing you need to add is this here. So Mr. D took a trip to 460 miles. That is 460 miles. His CRV gets 30 miles per gallon on the highway, 25 miles per gallon in the city. And after his trip, he looks at his fuel gauge and wonders how many gallons of tank were used up on the highway if the car used 16 gallons. Okay, so to know that you did this, you have to have added this in. So we know the car used 16 gallons, and that will get us started. So the reason this is called modifying a formula, okay, well, we're going to kind of think of it as a strategy. And really, what we have is, well, let's see, we have a distance. And instead of one rate of change, we have two rates of change. So we have rate 1 and we have rate 2. Okay? And I'm going to combine some skills here. So we have a distance. And not do we have one rate of change, we have two rates of change. Don't let it scare you. It's really not too bad. A formula would be useful. Okay? But let's draw a little picture. So my CRV. Again, sometimes it helps draw a picture. That is a terrible CRV. Oh my gosh, that's bad. It also has kind of a back here, and I do have a hitch. Okay. Anyway, my CRV, that's like terrible. I am better than that. But anyway, we are going 450 miles. Okay, which took 16 gallons. Alrighty. So let's say I leave, and I live in Lebanon, so I'm going to leave the city. All right, so my city is 25 miles per gallon. That's what I get in the city. So in the city, all right, this is my distance in the city. I'm getting 25 miles per gallon. Okay. From there, I go to the highway, and let's say I travel this distance on the highway. Just kind of smooth sailing, and I get 30 miles per gallon. Now, what we need to use is this 16 gallons. Okay, that is really going to help us here. So let's say, for example, I travel 12 miles. So for example, so you don't necessarily have to write this down, but let's say I travel 12 gallons worth in the city. 12 gallons in the city. How many gallons would I have traveled on the highway? Well, if I used up 16, that means I would travel 4 gallons worth. Okay. Say I used up, so we don't know, remember? Say I used up 8 gallons in the city. Then I would have used 8 gallons on the highway. And this is where our relation comes in. Say I use up X. We don't know the number of gallons I used in the city. Okay? And we don't know how many we used over here, but we know it's going to be less than 16. We can begin to solve. Okay, and you're probably wondering where it all comes. Well, we have a distance, so write down part of your formula. 460 miles equals. Okay, our first rate is 25 miles. And we used 16 minus G. And again, this is city. And we used up X gallons in the city. Plus, okay, 30, and we used up 16 less than X miles on the highway. Okay, so again, green is city, blue is highway. Okay, in the end, we want to know how many gallons per tank were used up on the highway, so we'll get there. 25x is just 25x. Now, you need to distribute 30 times 16. $480. Minus 30 times x equals 460. All right, combine like terms. It means negative 5x plus 480 equals 460. We're going to subtract 480. Gives me negative 20. And that means that we used up, divided by negative 5, divided by negative 5, 4 is our x. Now that's gallons on the city, or in the city. Okay, because that was our first G here is x. Well, again, if I used 4 gallons in the city, that means our question says how many gallons of tank were used up on the highway. Okay, 16 minus x is the highway, so I used up 12 gallons on the highway. Okay, it's a little more challenging. Okay, that's why it is a challenging question. We'll be doing more practice of these types. But again, it gives you a little bit of a background at least. And thank you very much for sticking around and trying to get through that. Again, go back through these notes more than once, perhaps. That can certainly help you. Again, the distance in the highway, all right, is if I use up 16 total gallons and I travel 8 on the highway, then I must have traveled 8 in the city. 16 total gallons, 4 on the highway, 12 in the city, vice versa. But thanks for hanging around. All righty.